So drop a 1 in the comments if you were like, dang, my business would be exploding if I could just sign some dang DTs. Okay. Drop a 1 in the comments if you're like, I just don't know. I can sign loyal customers, but like DTs just feel super hard. Drop a 1 in the comments if that's you. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. I have Cami on here tonight, and I'm excited for her to share some tips too. But I want to give you a couple of things, yeah, in that same voice. Like, if you want to truly get over that objection in your mind, you have to say it with that voice, because then you just sound annoying when you say it. Okay, like you just sound annoying. If you're like, I can't sign distributors, you're like, ew, I'm never saying that again, and then you'll start to be a lot more positive. Okay, that's my number 1 tip. My second tip is never get defensive. Okay. I remember when I first started in the business, and like people would be like, oh, is this like a pyramid scheme type thing? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? I would never do something like that. Okay. And I would get like really pissed off. And that's like actually the worst thing you can do. Cause like, have you ever been really guilty of something and you get really defensive and you're like, no, I would never do that. Okay. That's what happens to my kids too. So people like are like, oh my gosh, like what's wrong with this chick? Right. But if you're just like, so the thing that I want you to write down is feel, felt, found. Okay. I know you guys have heard this before, but bear with me because we all need reminders every once in a while about this. Okay. So when somebody comes to you, and I want you, as I'm talking, to drop some of your most common objections that you're getting from DTs in the comments. Okay. What's the most common objection? Is it money? Is it time? Is it, I don't think I'd be good at this? Is it salesperson? I don't want to be a salesperson, whatever. So drop it in the comments. Okay. Now, money and time are literally probably the number 1 things for everybody, if we're being honest. But doesn't it make you feel good just to know that you're not the only one who's talking to people that is struggling with money? Right? It's not you. It's not just your network. It's not just you. It's everybody. Okay. And the one thing that I want to emphasize to you is that I want you to drop a 2 in the comments if you didn't have enough money to join. If you use that as an excuse. Okay. So you guys are living proof that that is not a no. That's a not right now. That's a let me get my coins right before I do this. That is, you actually haven't convinced me enough to make me think that this is worth the value. Okay. So, as part of our job is to show people why it's worth the money. Because if they really saw the value in it, they would pay the money. Anybody who knows that they have an opportunity and they think they could get a $15,000 bonus would definitely put $99 on that, right? But the reality of it is that we're getting frustrated about people not having the money, people saying they don't have enough time, when we really haven't shown them the value of why this is worth their money. Does that make sense to everybody? And so, and if you haven't shown them that, if you feel like you haven't been able to do that, it's probably because you need a little bit of convincing in your own head, that you're kind of like, well, I don't know if this is really going to work out for me. So how can I convince somebody else or try to talk to somebody else and show them why this is something that would be worth their time? Okay. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Using the feel, felt, found rule will help you in every area of your life, not just this business. It will help you with your marriage. You can pay me big bucks for teaching you this, okay, instead of going to marriage counseling. You also can use this with your kids. You can also use this with really any type of relationship that you have, okay? So when you're talking to your potentials and they say, I just don't have the money, I totally understand how you feel. I've felt that way before I joined. But what I found is that I was spending $99 on things that gave me no return. And it wasn't part of what I thought that it wasn't helping my future. I wasn't able to invest that into my future. I was spending $99 on Target, spending God knows what. Drop a whatever number we're on, 5 in the comments if you have spent $99 at Target when you were deciding if you should work this business. You were like, oh, I don't know if I have enough money to pay for this business, but you walk into Target and spend $99. Okay. So money, let's talk about this one first. Okay. Here are some of my favorite responses. Number one, I always say, if somebody says, I just don't have the money, my number one response is, if you had the money, would you do it? If you had the money, would you do it? Here's why I ask this, is because a lot of times once you ask that question, their wheels start turning of, dang, well, if I had the money, would I do it? Yeah, I would. And then they start to be more aware of like, dang, I just spent $49 at dinner. Dang, I just spent $99 at Target. And they start to become more aware of their spending. So you're starting to plant that seed. And then you don't waste your time with people who, if they had the $99, they would do it, because all of you yellows on here know that even if you didn't want to do the business, you would tell somebody you just didn't have the money because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Right? You don't want to hurt their feelings. And so you would just use that as an excuse. So here we are getting drug along by all these potentials who are saying they don't have the money, when really that's just their cop out for they don't want to do it. So always ask the question, would you do it if you had the money? Okay. And that is like something that that really changed the game for me. And I can put some of these in the comments. As if Cami, if you have anything else to add to that, because even if people say they don't, if they had the money they would do it, then what do? We go right into talking about how they can pre-sell their samples. Okay, then we don't have to have the money to start. So therefore you're already creating that conversation, you're already moving the conversation forward, instead of being like, oh my God, I just had another potential tell me that she didn't have the money. Okay, you should actually be excited when people tell you they don't have the money, but they would do it if they had the money, because that is an actual potential. That's not somebody who's just giving you an excuse. Cami, do you have anything to add to this part?
I think also too, the Klarna app is like super underrated, because I know that pre-selling samples is hard. If somebody has to sell 5 or more, to get that money to join, but they can either start with the Klarna, and especially with it being $50 to join right now, they can join for like $13 down. It's split up into 4 payments. It's interest free, doesn't affect their credit, nothing like that. And so that's a great option too. And if they absolutely have no money at all, they can sell 1 sample pack for $15, make that $15 to start with the Klarna app payment plan, and then get started.
Yeah, so good. And Klarna, just know that everybody doesn't get approved though. So if you're like, oh, it's not working, it typically is because they don't get approved, because I think they run like I don't know, they just look at some things. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but I think that is one of the main things that you just want to be aware of. And so one of the things that I want to talk about too is when this is, hold on, let me put my, okay. Okay, so when you're talking to people, number one rule, right, is not to be defensive. The number 2 rule is give them education and understanding, right? So educate them, because a lot of times, you guys, when people are talking about pyramid schemes, they're just not educated. It's not your job to be defensive. It's your job to educate them about why it's not. And I can, if you want me to go into that, if you guys feel like that would be helpful about like why it's not, and you're getting that a lot, drop like a 17 in the comment or whatever number where I'm somebody to help me out with that. But that's super important, is if you don't understand that, it's going to be hard for you to educate them on that. The other thing is making sure that when you're talking to people that you're relating to them, right? The feel, felt, found, that's where that comes in. I totally understand how you feel. I felt the same way, but here's what I found. So here's a way where you can do this. Let me put it in the comments. Okay, so I totally understand. I felt the same way before I started. It made me feel better though that there was no contract or commitment, and that I could make my $99 back right away by selling samples of my coffee. What's the worst that could happen? You still get over $100 in free products, so there's really no risk at all. Okay, that's one of my responses. But I saw a couple of people say that they would benefit from hearing us talk about a pyramid scheme. Okay. So I have a couple of responses for pyramid schemes, but I'm going to educate you first and then I'll give you the wording for it, because I want you to conceptually understand this, because if somebody asks you in person, you're going to want to be able to kind of know what you're talking about instead of just following scripts, right? And it's going to make you more confident in this way. Number one reason why we're not a pyramid scheme is because those are illegal. Okay, pyramid schemes were outlawed in the 90s, and we've been around for almost 20 years. So we're not a pyramid scheme because we're regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, by the FTC. So we're not a pyramid scheme. The second thing is the definition of a pyramid scheme is when there's no exchange of products, right? So I'm just getting Cami to sign up. Cami's getting Connie to sign up. Connie's getting Mackenzie to sign up. Mackenzie's getting Sherry to sign up, and we're making money off the startup costs. For people, and typically the startup costs are super expensive, and so you're making money off the startup costs, but there's actually no product exchange and nobody's actually benefiting from signing up. Okay, that is why it's a pyramid scheme, because nobody's been getting anything. We actually make $0 if there's no customers. Okay. And so understanding that if there's no product exchange, we don't make any money. And when people start to understand that, they're like, oh, that makes sense. Then the other reason is that a lot of people say, oh, only the people at the top make all the money. But the reality of it is anybody that I sign up can make more money than me. Erin, the girl that I enrolled with, actually makes more money than her enroller. Okay. And so a pyramid scheme is like, oh, well, it's just like this hierarchy. But also understand that if you're talking to somebody who works in corporate America, they all understand a pyramid structure. That's what corporate America is a pyramid structure. It's not a pyramid scheme. Corporate America is not a pyramid scheme, but the structure of it is a pyramid, meaning that you have the CEO, you have the vice presidents, and you have the like senior vice presidents, vice president, retail or territory managers, branch managers if we're talking about a bank, and then you have tellers, and then you have all the other staff. Okay. And so understand that that's a pyramid structure. The reality of it is if I come in as a bank teller, I'm never going to make more money than the CEO. Okay. And so we're not even a pyramid structure. Network marketing is honestly just a type of marketing. That's it. It's just a type of marketing, just like email marketing, just like uh, TV marketing, just like whatever. People have all different forms of marketing. And so this is just a form of marketing. But instead of paying TV stations hundreds of millions of dollars to advertise, it works as paying us to do it. Okay. Does that make more? Hopefully that helped clear some things up when it comes to that. And then the other thing I always like to ask people when if we're talking about money is understanding, like, if do you really not have the money, or do you have the money but you need it for bills or something like that? And this is okay. And I can post all these too. You can actually save the, oh, this is too long. You can actually save the chat. But Cami, let's talk about time. Okay. If people say they don't feel like they could be successful, like they're nervous to start, whatever, and they just don't have enough time.
So in every objection that somebody gives you, and also just talking to potential distributors in general, you need to be able to like relate to them in some way, shape, or form. And like also share your story. So if you're not sharing your story or like sharing, you know, anything about you in this business when you're talking to potential distributors, that's something you definitely need to do. But if somebody comes to me and they're like, I just don't have enough time, I'm going to do the same thing that Kelsey does, where I'm going to be like, you know what, that's how I felt, but I found this, blah, 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 blah. Or, you know, however you do it. But basically, I just talked to him about, you know what, I felt the same way. I was a full-time nursing student, and I was working full-time labor and delivery at a hospital, and I literally had no time. I was straight A student, blah, blah, blah. But I just needed a little extra money to get me through. And so I decided that I was just going to work it whenever I could. And it fit so well into my schedule. And I was able to build a full-time income within just a few months. And so if I can do it, so can you. And I just also tell them that, like, hey, you know what? I've done this. I know firsthand how to do it. And I can show you also if you're willing to take those steps.
So good. One of the things, I don't know why my stuff's not sitting in the comments. It's the freaking devil, but I'm going to send this. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is what I typically write. Here's the thing. I don't know a single person that joins this business because we have extra time. We do it because we want extra time. I completely understand what it's like to be busy, what feels like 24/7 and absolutely having no time to yourself. That's my life too. I definitely don't have time for 8 to 12 hour shifts, 5+ days a week. But what I do have is 5 to 10 minutes here and there throughout the day, in the carpool lanes, on school, about baby naps, all these things. So here's the thing. Take this, and then you say, and then I don't care. Here's the thing. I don't care if you join today, your team is killing it. Okay. Because our team is killing it and we can teach people the steps to be successful. And so don't feel like when you say like my team's killing it, that it's like you. Okay. This is our team collectively. Like how many of you guys have gotten help from somebody other than your enroller? Probably almost all of you, because we have a community. You've read something on the team page, or you saw somebody who was killing it and you ask them a question, or whatever the case might be. So this is a huge one, is understanding the objection of time and just relating to people. Here's the thing. Before you guys joined, if you knew you could be successful, would you have joined quicker? If you knew that you could be successful, drop a 7 in the comments. I don't think we've done that number yet. If you knew you could be successful, would you have joined quicker? Okay. So how many of you guys are like, oh my God, where's the script for that? Oh my God, when somebody messages me about like, there's no money or whatever, like, where's the script for that? But what they're really telling you is they're doubting themselves. Again, if you knew you would get a $15,000 bonus for $99, you would pay the $99 every single time. And so what they're saying is they don't believe in themselves. And so what you have to do is instill belief. And this is the missing key that a lot of you guys are missing in talking to your distributors, because you're so focused on saying the right things about what the business is and what it does and like whatever, and just understanding that, listen, like I really believe you could be successful. Like I know it feels that way, but I'm going to help you be successful. And if you keep telling them how much you believe that they could be successful, that is going to do more than any script could do. Okay. Because they're going to feel that. They're not going to be sitting here on their hands being like, oh my gosh, well, like, I just don't know. Because every excuse, okay, I did another company, it doesn't work. I don't know many people. I don't think I can do this. I'm worried I'm going to fail. I'm not good at sales. I don't know if I could sell anything. I don't have the $99. Blah, 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 blah. I'm nervous. It's all because they don't think they can be successful. So what are you doing to make sure that you can help them, that you're instilling that confidence in them, and that you're saying, I truly believe that you could be successful. And here's why I think that. For whatever objection, and I'm going to post all these in the team page so you guys have them, all like the scripts that I have. But you guys, a lot of times I don't even use those scripts. I don't even use them. I have them, and I suggest, highly, highly, highly suggest that you read through them, because the person that it's going to change the most is not your potentials, but you. Right? Because you're going to gain more confidence with knowing that you have something to say for everything that somebody comes back with. The only thing I ever stop talking to people in is they're like, I just don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, do you mind if I ask you why? It's like, well, I don't need, like, if they don't feel like they need the money, or if they're just like not interested. Okay. Because I'm not going to try to convince somebody of why they should be interested in this. I'm just not. And you probably shouldn't do that either. But what you should do is, if there is a real hesitation, it's just them saying, I don't know if I believe in myself to be successful enough. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope that you guys see the bigger picture on that, and you don't just get so caught up in using all the scripts and saying, oh my God, how do I describe the business? How many of you like freak out when people are like, so what is it that you do? Can you give me more information? You're like, oh my God, what do I say? How do I describe it best? Like, I do the same thing. And so it's like, but you know what you do. It's just learning the wording and getting that down. But when it comes to these objections that people have, you guys, it's just a matter of feeling like you know what you want to say. And in the end, yeah. And Oh, Kelsey just put a good description of what we do. And I have a bunch of them too that we can start in the team page if that would be helpful for you guys. So Cami, how many people do you talk to a day in order to feel like you're getting enough good conversations going?
A day at least like 10 to 15. It's actually funny that I have this out because I have a list of people and I updated this today. So this is 1, 2, 3 sides, okay, of people that I've talked to today. And oh, are we still here? Okay. And it's completely, this is just an updated list, okay? So you're gonna be talking to people every single day. And my favorite way to do this is because we gotta sometimes step out of the focusing on all the people that we've talked to that haven't joined, and instead focus on how many people are actually out there that really do need what you have to offer. So doing distributor host to post has changed the whole game for me, personally.
And so for you doing distributor host to post, you try to get up 10 host to post and have 10 conversations.
Yeah. So, well, with distributor host to post, I do 2 to 3 a day. Okay. So I normally do 10, 15, I do 15 to 20 host posts right now. But 10 is the absolute minimum. So if I get up 20 host to post, then it's for distributor host to post, but I do 2 to 3 minimum every single day. And I usually get at least 5 comments on each of them. So I'm talking to all those people every single day. If they say, hey, I don't have money, blah, 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 always end every conversation with a host, like offering them the giveaway. Be like, hey, that's fine. I also wanted you to be in the loop about my giveaway, and I'll drop them my message in the chat after this. And then have them throw up a distributor host to post, because then they could have all these people that are interested in the business too. And I'm like, sister, you have all these people on your personal friends list that need extra money too. We could start building your own little team right away. And so that also helps, get that belief in their mindset that, oh my gosh, there are so many people out here that need this, and I can really do this.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that when we start to realize that, you know what, like there's nothing to be scared of, but we just have to start having more conversations, you guys. How many of you feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm having like 2 conversations a day with people? How many of you guys feel that way? Drop a 8 in the comments. If you're like, I'm having like 2 to 3 potential distributors that I talk to or less a day. Put in the comments if it's not you, how many conversations are you having a day? Not one day, but on average a day. How many people are you having conversations with about the business? 3. Okay. 3, 2 to 3, 3. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. If you did 3 push-ups, 2 to 3 push-ups every day, would you expect to have jacked up arms? No, you wouldn't. And so how can you expect 2 to 3 conversations to be enough to make you feel like I can do this, I'm ready for this, right? You are going to, and even if my thing is I don't want you guys so much like it's important to have a goal number of messages to send out or of whatever, but it's really important to have a conversation goal. Like how many people am I in a real conversation with? Meaning we're going back and forth like ping pong. Right? That is how I judge how successful my day is how many conversations that I had, not how many messages that I sent out. Right? And so your goal should be to add 10 potentials to your list every single day. And I feel like when you do that, then guess what happens? You don't get so caught up when people are saying no. Does that make sense? Because what has happened to me in the past, and if you relate to this, just put something in the comments that you relate so I know that I'm not alone, where like I'll be sending out messages and then somebody responds and I'm like, oh my God, she's interested. And then I spend my whole day responding to that one person and I'm like, she's gonna sign, she's gonna sign, she's gonna sign. And then guess what? She doesn't sign. And then I'm pissed off because I spent the whole freaking day talking to this one chick, okay, who didn't end up freaking signing. And I'm like, that was just a waste of the day. But what happens if you don't respond to anybody until you get all of your seeds planted, until you get all of your messages out. Then you know that you don't have to stress out about not having more people to talk to. I will tell you, I don't even know how many no's I get a day because I have so many people that I'm talking to that I don't even have time to count them. And so if you are frustrated with, I can't seal the deal, it's just because you're not talking to enough people. And send some conversations to your upline and say, hey, can you help me? Because I feel like I'm talking to enough people. Because I used to, like, I literally joined and I was like, dude, I talk to everybody on my timeline. Every single person on my friends list I talk to, okay? Like, nobody wants this. Like, literally, that was me. And she was like, screenshot me 10 of your combos. And I was like, 10? I just talked to like 4 people. She was like, okay, so you didn't talk to everybody on your friends list? I'm like, nope. Okay, I get your point, right? Because we can feel like everybody's saying no to us, but when we realize we're just focusing on the people that are saying no and we're not going further than that, right? We're like, oh my God, everybody's saying no. So my challenge for you is, I know we didn't do that much work on this because I really wanted to talk about the mindset that it takes to sign distributors, because that's the most important thing, the work you can do after this. But my goal for you guys is for the next week, message until you get 10 no's. Okay. This does not mean no response. No responses don't count. Nope, they don't count. Okay. You'll get disqualified if you count no responses. I'm just kidding. There's no really game. But so no responses don't count. Not right nows don't count. You have to get a no, I'm not interested. Okay. I don't have the money right now doesn't count because we already talked about how that is a not right now. Okay. So I guarantee you at the end of 7 days, you will have more potentials than you've ever had in your entire life if you do this. I promise. But you have to go for 10 no's. If you accept this challenge, put challenge accepted in the comments. And we'll start a thread in the 2020 focus group. And when you get your 10 no's, I guarantee you, you're going to have yeses. You're going to have yeses. But don't doubt yourself. Stop. And you know what? You're going to be practicing. So at first, it's going to feel awkward, right? It's going to feel like, I don't know how to have this conversation. Excuse me, I don't know. What should I say to this? 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 And you're going to be screenshotting so many conversations. But at the end of the week, after 7 days of doing this, you're going to be like, I'm an expert at signing DTs. I have so many potentials. And so I don't want you to use this time to be stressed out about all the DTs you're not signing. I want you to plant the seeds. Okay. And I want you to understand that, think of it like a deck of cards. Okay. And everybody has a different deck, but the same cards within the deck. And if you flip them over, how many aces are in the pile? 4. In every deck, there's 4 aces, right? But if you flip them over, everybody gets an ace at different times. Some people get them right in the middle. Some people get them at the beginning, and some people get them in the end. But wouldn't it be a tragedy if you stopped before you got your ace? Wouldn't it be a tragedy? And I literally think about that when I'm like, oh God, I got my messages out, but I could do more, but I don't feel like it. But crap, I don't want anybody else to get my ace. That's literally how I feel. Okay. So I want you guys to understand that it is like a deck of cards. You're going to get your ace, but you have to have enough, like you have to be flipping the cards. You have to be playing the game. And so I challenge you, go for no, and you'll be surprised at how many yeses you get. So I hope this was helpful. Cami, did you want to end with anything?
Just real fast, guys, this whole business is mindset. And so I want you guys to all go into this, especially talking to potential distributors, with why would this person not want what I have to offer? Okay. You're going to attract exactly what you think. So if you think nobody wants what you have to offer, you're going to attract people that don't want what you have to offer. But if you go into it this mindset of like, oh my gosh, I really do have my hands on $1 million opportunity, because you each have the opportunity to make this $1 million business. We all saw the potential. None of us would have joined if we did not see at least some sort of potential that like you individually could do this. So you know it's possible. So why would anybody else not want this? You can change so many lives. So go into it with that mindset of, why the heck would this girl not want this? She's freaking crazy. Like, okay, if you don't want it, I'll find somebody else who does. So get out of the mindset of worrying about the people that don't want what you have to offer, and go for those people and keep messaging. If you see somebody that you would want on your own team, message them, ask them. Always talk to people, and you're going to find the right people. God's going to send them to you.
Yes, I love that. So good. And I wish we could be on here because I have like so many more freaking objections that I feel like we could go over. But just understand that like if you get an objection, if you get somebody whose response isn't, yes, I'm so interested, you can still get them to the point where they get really interested. Okay. And that is your job. That is how you can do this. Okay. And we can help you do that. So don't be afraid to reach out for help. We don't expect you to know everything, but we're so proud of you for getting on here tonight. Thank you all for investing in your business and making it a priority. We love you. Bye, guys.